children, whoever you are, everyone's welcome here. It's your boy Peter here, aka Peter Freakout 10, baby. Bring you guys episode of the Movie Review Show, where the good movies are always reviewed. Alright, back again to our movie review. Now, on today's episode, it's time to go back a year, because for those who don't know or haven't kept up with the channel, about a year ago, I did a review of She's All That. A film that I really didn't expect much out of, being that those types of films aren't my thing. However, coming out of it, I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a sense of heart to it. I also like it on account of the fact that the lead actors and actress are really likable. They had great chemistry. And it had a good romantic charm to it that I couldn't help but like it without being mushy-gushy. That's the best way to describe why I like She's All That. And a lot of people seem to agree, as I said in that review, made a lot of money at the box office. So what do you get when you want the same results? And you get the same male actor, but replace the female actress with another actress who has had success with their own teen comedy. You get Down to You. But does it reach the same highs? Well, grab yourself a good dinner and your friends, and let's talk Down to You. Now, Down to You, this is a film made in the year 2000. It's written and directed by a guy named Kris Isacsson, who I wouldn't blame you for not knowing, because he never really did anything before this but a short called Man About Town, and I can kind of understand why. But the thing with this film is that it wasn't supposed to be a romantic comedy, as Kris Isacsson wrote the film as a edgy, unorthodox look into college life. However, during the making of the film, which was being distributed under the Miramax company, same as She's All That, and because of both the Weinstein brothers being involved and saw success with the two teenage romantic comedies that they were part of, they had the film edited in production, cutting out that whole area to focus on the romantic aspects of the characters, which is why the film comes across a bit disjointed in its character development, because it was Frankensteined into being something it was never intended to be. And I think people saw that it was a gimmick, because when the film came out, despite it opening to number 2 in its opening weekend, Next Friday was riding the top spot, and it made only over $7 million, which was a huge drop-off from She's All That, which made over $16 million in a single weekend. And by its second weekend, it dropped to the number 6 spot, and by February made only over $19 million, as opposed to She's All That $49 million, which it made around that time. Why this isn't doing well as She's All That? Like I said, people saw the gimmick, and they just saw that the Weinsteins were riding off the She's All That success, and the main actresses step into another comedy that she did. And I think also, Next Friday was out, and people were more excited for that, because, like I said in my review, people loved the first Friday, and they were really looking forward to a sequel. And the film's reception didn't help either, as on that side it carries a 3%, as critics ripped the film apart as they found it to be a bland romantic comedy, and it was compared heavily to the Woody Allen movie Annie Hall. Audience side, it was a bit more kinder, but not by much, as it only has a 48% on IMDb as a 5 out of 10. So, it depends on where you look again. Now, this one, I don't want to say it's that bad, okay? It's not a 3% rating bad, as Rotten Tomatoes makes it out to be. I think that's a little overboard, as I have seen much worse movies. I mean, recently I reviewed Supernova. That film is deplorable. Last year I reviewed Virus. That film was disappointing. So yeah, I've seen much worse. But this isn't a movie I can defend. This isn't a film that I find myself watching again, especially when compared to She's All That, which I think is a much better movie. But with the cast in this film, you got Freddie Prinze Jr. from I Know What You Did Last Summer, and he was also in its sequel, and of course She's All That, Wing Commander. You have Julia Stiles, who before this was in 10 Things I Hate About You with Heath Ledger. Selma Blair from Cruel Intentions. Shawn Hatosy from The Faculty. Zak Orth, who was in the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet. You also have Rosario Dawson from Kids. You also have small roles from people like Henry Winkler from The Waterboy, Ashton Kutcher from TV's That 70s Show, and Lucie Arnaz from The Jazz Singer. Now, the plot of Down to You is basically we meet this guy named Al, played by Freddie Prinze Jr., who is at college looking to become a chef, as his father, played by Henry Winkler, runs this cooking show. And one night while out with friends at a bar, he runs into this girl named Imogen, played by Julia Stiles, who is working at the campus to become an artist. And the two strike a relationship and end up falling in love, which starts off going well. However, both of their insecurities and stupidity causes their relationship to strain, and they end up breaking up, with Al taking the brunt of it. And despite trying to take control of his life and start dating again, none of them compare to Imogen. So now he realizes that he needs to look past his depression and find a way to win her back. Will Al find a way to win his girlfriend back, or will he find himself lying down in a pool of her own shampoo? Now, the thing with Down to You is there's an idea in there for a sweet movie, and I like some of the ideas in the story where there is sweetness between the two leads and in various parts of the films. Especially, there is aspects of the story that I do like. In particular, the character of Al. I like the fact that they didn't just make him a diet soda version of his character in She's All That, but made him a nice guy. I like the aspect of his character wanting to be a chef and his dad running this cooking show that he occasionally goes on. So there is likability to the character, and there is a good-hearted person there, which I do appreciate, especially when compared to his character in She's All That, where he started off as a douche and went through an arc. And the same also applies to Imogen, especially in the scenes with the two talking and they're having their fling, like when they're talking about her art. I like that aspect of the story. So there's some sweetness there in their relationship and sweetness in the story. And I especially do like the aspect of when the film ends, she becomes a writer and she bases a book on their relationship. But the problem I have is because this was intended to be something else, and because of the edits, none of the two characters, despite those basic level structure, plot points of character, really contribute to making their characters feel developed. And it really doesn't take the time to develop the two before they meet. Because right when the film starts, it drops you into the bar and we're introduced in the meeting. And the movie spends this moment to tell you their character traits already, instead of showing it before they meet. And I think that really would have benefited the story. And it really breaks the show don't tell rule, and that's because the film itself was meant to have more to it. And I think some of the character development was lost on the cutting room floor. And it really hurts the romantic aspect of the film. Despite, on a surface level, there being some good romantic mushy moments, you really can't get as invested in it as the film wants you to, or see anything about them to make them stand out. And it doesn't have an interesting conflict to bring them together, which I think She's All That did a better job with, which I know people have complained about She's All That coming off as creepy. I didn't find the film that creepy, I'll be honest. I felt that the character of Freddie's that he played in that film went through a sense of an arc where he realized right in the middle that this dare was wrong, and it kind of made you get behind him. Like, the film felt like it built up to making you forgive him, and it seemed more innocent. This, though, doesn't have any of that, and it really doesn't offer a sense of progression to the characters that really make you feel like you see them going through a sense of change. And the change just happens randomly without any build-up, and it's like, oh, they're together again. And it's just the problem is the conflict is just a problem that all couples go through, and they present it in the most vanilla way possible. That is just boring. And even before that, the breakup that does need to occur, it really makes you dislike Julia Stiles in the movie. Because you find out in the movie, she sleeps with another guy, and they try to justify it because you can tell that these moments were added after where the characters are talking, and then she's like, I admit this was wrong, but this happened and this and that. It's like, no, you don't get to do that. You don't get to have that moment. Because after that, she disappears, and you focus on Freddie and his own sorrow the whole time, and it's just like, what? And it just feels like there's scenes missing that really could have benefited the characters. So yeah, the story, it just feels like it lingers along, and it doesn't feel like it offers anything, and it just stops in its tracks to really just focus on things that don't really matter or give a sense of progression to the story. And I just didn't find the film funny. The jokes weren't landing with me. The roommates and their whole shtick I found obnoxious, especially the dude Monk, the porn director. He got on my nerves. Definitely a far cry away from the people in She's All That, especially with Paul Walker, who, yes, Paul Walker was a jerk in that film, but Paul Walker is a good actor compared to the guys in this film. That's the big difference with this film. There's good acting in that. I'll talk about the acting later because that's not the only problem. And I know I keep comparing the story to She's All That, but that's what Harvey wanted with this film. That's what he wanted with this film, was another She's All That. Even the fact that they did a music video with Billy Myers trying to replicate the Sixpence song Kiss Me. So it's trying to be She's All That. And adding on to that, it isn't as funny as that film. I can't think of a moment when this film had me laughing or even chuckling. That's a lie. I will say this. There was one scene I did find funny. That's where Henry Winkler is talking with him about an idea for a cooking show that they could do, and they called Food Cops, which is basically cops, and it's filmed like cops, and they're delivering food, and they're playing the bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gotta do when they come for you? That got a smile out of me, especially in Henry's delivery in that scene. And it really shows the talent Henry Winkler has as an actor. That scene works because of him. But other than that, I can't think of anything else I'm sort of remembering that was funny or even worth remembering. Or even to say, wow, that makes me laugh when I think about the film. Which also plays into the directing. It's easy to tell Kris Isacsson is a first-time director, because this is such a bland-ass looking movie. Because I know I said the direction in She's All That was nothing special, and I don't think it needed to be with that film, considering this is not an action movie or anything dynamic, but at least it was competently made, unlike this film. I don't like the look of it. It has this washed out look to it. I don't know if it's the lighting or the color scheme they chose, but it looks shoddy in some areas. It looks cheap. And the sets themselves, they look like they're filming in real dormitories, and it really makes the film look cheap in this instance. Usually I admire the fact that they went to a real set and had that, but here, I don't know. I don't know if it's the way they shot it or the locations they chose, but the sets really make the film look cheap, and his direction is nothing to run home about. There's just this energy of just put the camera there, get a shot, put the camera here, get a shot. The only time his direction actually shines is when he's working with Fred and Julia's chemistry, and I like the scene where once in a while there'll be a good shot, like the date scene where they're dancing on the roof and the shooting star passes by. But that's really about it. There's not a lot to this movie, and it doesn't have any sense of pizzazz. And he's not good with comedic timing, other than Henry Winkler, or getting a lot out of his actor. The main couple, Freddie and Julia Stiles, Freddie Prinze Jr., they're trying, but the characters just aren't anything to run home about. Despite having some likability to them, you don't really feel glued to the screen by their presence like you did with the two and She's All That. But other than that, I do feel they're trying with the script they're giving and trying everything they can to get through this film, especially on the circumstances that this was going to be edited later. The actors playing the roommates, though, I thought were annoying. Zak Orth with his accent and Shawn Hatosy, I got annoyed with. I wanted to smack them both across the room. Selma Blair, who was great in Cruel Intentions, just there to be a slut and try to sleep with Freddie, but then again, that's pushed to the side. It's never brought up again. Rosario Dawson has nothing to do in this movie, which is sad, because not only is she hot, but she's also a talented actress, as kids show that. But here she just pops in and out to say something and make out with Shawn Hatosy in a phone booth, and then she's gone. Like I said, Henry Winkler is the best part of this film. He's one of the few members not named Freddie or Julia that's genuinely trying. I thought he was funny, had great chemistry with Freddie as well as Julia. He's the one with the most character as opposed to everyone else. I wish he had more screen time and actually played more of a part in the story than what he does. And I even liked the mother, Lucie Arnaz. I thought she did a good job. And Ashton Kutcher, this is a nothing role for him. I know he's in this film. He's just there to be a plot device for Freddie and Julia's breakup. And he's this weird artist as well, talking weirdly. And then it's revealed, oh, she sleeps with him. It's like, what? And that's the thing with the acting. There's not much that stands out to me, especially when compared to She's All That and 10 Things I Hate About You. In that film, Julia had more character and charm than anyone in this film. So yeah, the acting, really nothing special. I will give it this, though. The song by Billy Myers, Down to You, I do like. It's no Sixpence None the Richer, the Kiss Me song, but it's a pretty good song for what it is. But Down to You is just nothing special. There's really nothing else to say. And it just comes across as soulless and not as down to you as it thinks it does. Now, granted, it's not as bad as the Rotten Tomatoes rating, but if they wanted it to be something else, then make another movie that wasn't this movie. Don't foil with somebody's direction that somebody worked really hard on to get a film like this made and intended to be something else. And it's just a been there, done that movie that really could have been so much better. Which is why I can't rate this movie anything more than a 4.9 out of 10. Again, it's not bad enough to get the seal of shit, but it's definitely one that I don't find myself watching again. Now, I look online, and there are some people who do enjoy this film, and if you like the film, that's fine. If you liked it more than She's All That, that's cool too. I have no issue with that. No skin off my nose. But if you want a better version, if you haven't seen this, go watch She's All That. It's totally much better than this. But yeah, that is my review for Down to You. That's it for the January films, but next time I'm going to continue getting my reviews done for Scream and Scream 2. As you guys know, I did beat Resident Evil 2 recently. I am working on a review of that. May do some more of The Sims, so be on the lookout for those. And I'll get some Turok 2 parts up, because I've been wanting to get those done with. And I have a few other stuff. I did see Pitch Black. That film was awesome. You're going to get my thoughts on that soon, so be on the lookout for that. I'm going to do a review of Scream 3 as well, Snow Day, as well as a few others. So keep on the lookout for those. And I'll see the whole 9 yards soon, so that'll be coming. So be on the lookout for those. But for right now, I will see you guys later. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of Down to You. Did you guys enjoy it? I'd love to know you guys' thoughts. Be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.